What up, Team Happy and Fit? It's Julianne here and Lisa Locke that is going to come at you. We just got done with an amazing conference and seminar, and we were like, oh, it's a seminar. Like you drank the Kool-Aid and, you know, you're part of a cult, whatever people might think and whatever we thought when we first were going in. Because honestly, we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into, but we felt pulled to get to the seminar. And so our journey with doing that, picking up Lisa flying by her first time. I'll let you share that, Lisa, but our lives will never be the same from this. And I know this sounds so crazy, and yes, we are. And it's just like, I feel like our presence and our energy can somehow empower you to do something different today, to feel something different today, and take away some skills that we've learned. But we've watched Tony Robbins. We've seen his videos. You've seen maybe I'm Not Your Guru on Netflix. And the energy that you felt in your living room by listening to him or watching him, and the music, I was always thinking like, oh, the music's put over to what's actually happening. No, everything you see in I'm Not Your Guru is like, it looks so real. I remember this one time he's like pointing at this guy and the music's going crazy and everyone's going and he's just pointing at him. That is totally what it was like. The music was insane. Tony changed our lives, and we experienced things that were very painful. We experienced things that were super amazing. We thought we were going to walk on fire. We're fire walkers, and we actually walked on fire, and that wasn't even what we were there for. And we did that the first day, and so I think it was the third day was probably the day of like, my life will never be the same. Like walking on fire, you're like, I can do anything. Day 2, you're like, whoa. Day 3, you're like, yep, it is inevitable this was gonna happen. So I'm gonna stop talking, and I'm gonna give it to my friend Lisa, and I'm so excited to hear her speak, and I have no idea what she's about to say, but it's gonna be very awesome. So I'm gonna mute myself. Lisa, take it away, sister.
All right, I have no idea what I'm going to say either, but that's okay. To start off, we've all listened to Tony Robbins, just like Julianne has said. A lot of the stuff that we learned and heard were all stories that he has already talked about and shared, either if you've watched him in YouTube videos or on like Quote of the Day show. They're all things that we've already heard, but being in a room of 12,000 people, all like screaming and changing at the same time, it's just an experience that like you cannot even begin to compare to anything else. I started, so really like a month before this event was when I saw it. I had listened to, so I recently had a death in the like close family friend that really impacted my family members, and I was like, wow, this person really created a legacy, and there was a lot of people at the funeral. Everyone knew him, and it just got me thinking, like, kind of in like a sad place, like what's going to happen when I die or other people die, and what's the legacy you're going to leave behind. And I think like the next day, within that next week, I listened to a podcast where Tony Robbins is telling his story about Thanksgiving and how he started with giving the baskets away because his family didn't have any money, and someone showed up at his door with a basket, and his dad absolutely like screamed and yelled at them, didn't want anything to do with them. And that's how Tony started doing that in his life. So he talks about his worst day being his best day in that regard. So for some reason, I decided to Google Tony Robbins because I knew he had events. I watched his I'm Not Your Guru on Netflix, and I was like, like I don't even know how much they are. I don't know where they are, whatever. So I Googled it, and I saw Unleash the Power Within is the event we went to, and I saw it was in San Jose in March, and this was like literally a month before. And then I messaged Julianne, like, is that close to you? Because I knew she lived in California. And she said, yeah, I'm going. It's 10 minutes away. And I'm like, I feel like there's some reason I need to go to this. Like, I don't know what it was. I just felt like I needed to go. But there was a lot of things I had to get in order. So I went to work the next day. They were just starting to work on that schedule, and they could rearrange my schedule. So I was able to go. I got a cheap flight, and it all just kind of fell into place. And then when I got there, so I have never flown alone, and any of you that know me know that I used to identify I'm an introvert. I'll explain that later. I was seriously so afraid, not in my skill, but just like, because I've gone through airports before with other people. I know how to navigate through an airport, blah, blah, blah. Like, I know how to do that, but it's the stress of the security line, stress of just all these people around, you don't know anybody, that kind of thing. So on my way there, I got in the wrong line for the concourse, so started off on a great start. Security helped me get to the right course, and then I sat at the wrong gate, all because I was so anxious and so worried. I looked at the board and was like, San Jose, that's where I'm going. No, I had to stop in Denver first. So everything worked out. It was all good. Get on the plane, and there's a dog in front of me that was yipping, and before we even take off, someone behind me yells, "Shut that dog up!" And then I'm completely like, oh my God, there's tension. So that was my ride there. Get there. Julianne and I had lunch. We picked up our packets. Day one of the conference was all about facing your fears, and it really led up to walking over fire. And we thought that was going to be the hardest part of the conference. Seriously, looking back on it, it wasn't, and I know that's crazy because you guys haven't gone, and it would be crazy to me too. But it's really that fire is any fear in your life. And that's really what he taught us that whole day, was how to get over those fears through different activities. And he did, drop some knowledge on us too, but knowledge is not power. You have to be able to implement it. So he basically taught us all these triggers. So when you think of like your peak state, so he had us go through different exercises where we talk to each other, your partner, and you just say, talk to them like you're not passionate, you're depressed, and everybody just kind of slumps down. And he's like, that's like universal. There was, I think, like people from like 27 different countries, and everybody did the same motion. So he really explained the differences between like when you're proud and happy, you're kind of, upright, you're breathing deeper, and then kind of being more fearful. So that was something he did teach us. And then a huge thing was how to change your state. So your state is like, that beautiful place, your peak state. So if you think of a time when you were totally unstoppable or extremely excited or happy, for me, it would be my wedding day. Unstoppable, I always went back to when I ran my first 5K. So feeling that feeling and harnessing it, that's basically what he taught us how to do. So we all, like, what I got out of this is I would look towards other people. So when looking at the team, I would look towards other people to try and get me into my peak state or happy state. And I was doing PD, doing all that stuff. Yes, it helped. But I wasn't really like feeling it. So he really kind of, I have such a logical nurse brain that I need to have like something logical to hang on to. So that was really helpful. So the things that you need to do to get into that peak state, he said that you need to change your energy. So you need to change the focus. So where your focus goes is where your energy is going to go. Write that down because that's a really good quote that he used a lot. So what you focus on is what you're going to, in turn, like that's what your state is going to be. So for me, focusing on everybody hates me and nobody likes me. What do you think my state's going to be? Pretty depressed and sad. I know I'm crazy. I'm putting my finger in my nose. It's the thing though. So you need to focus on something positive. So during that day, like walking on fire, we weren't focused on the fire. He taught us how to focus on, you're going to look up and focus on the outcome. So he drilled this into us. Like this was like a 15-hour day. So I'm just giving you like a snapshot. But you're focused. So we were focused on looking up, not looking down, and always saying cool moss. So if you focus on cool, you're not going to think hot. Because literally when we walked across, we could have just kept going and it didn't even feel hot. Like I'm not even, like the nurse in me was looking up all the things that could go wrong the night before. That's what I was doing. So to change your state, you need to change your focus. You need to change your physiology. So your movements. So you don't want to be all slumped over and kind of to yourself. You want to be out and proud. So changing that physiology. He taught us how to make our move and then say yes. So we watched the Oprah video multiple times. So you just, whatever your move is, some people it was slapping their chest. Some people it was just kind of fist pumping. So it's just like a trigger. Sometimes it's just closing your fist or snapping, some sort of trigger that will kind of get you out of that state. The last thing is your language. So obviously what you say is what you're going to focus on. So you want to focus on positive things. And all of this is kind of like, duh, but it's just totally different being there. And now I know how to like feel that energy rather than, oh yeah, I'm an overcomer. Like I was saying it, but I wasn't really like feeling it. And he does that a lot of ways, just with the excitement of the room and a lot of times music. So I had my Fitbit on for all 4 days and it registered 17 to 18,000 steps every day. So we had quite the dance party. So that is the number one thing I want you guys to get out of this is, to change your state. Yeah, and we did not move from our seats. The next thing, so let me share my screen. Can I share my screen? No?
Yeah, you should be able to at the bottom.
Okay. Just because I am a nurse, and I know we have some nurses. Right here. So this was something tangible that I got. So when your brain is in appreciation, this like totally clicked for me at work. When you're in appreciation and you're in that mindset, your brain waves and your heart rate are the same, as you can see on here. So everything is steady, cool, calm, collected. When you are frustrated or overwhelmed or upset, now look what happens. And this was like, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like mind blowing to me. So your EKG, so your heart rate goes up, your brain activity goes low. So that's why when we're stressed, we don't make good decisions. We can make mistakes. So that's why we need to get out of that state. You need to find a trigger, whatever it is, to get yourself out of that state and get back to the appreciation. How do I unshare? Stop share. Okay. So that's another thing. I like graphs. There was a whole day on energy and health and fitness, and I loved it. It was a lot of like, not a lot of pathophysiology, but enough to get me motivated and listening. The next major thing, so we talked about limiting beliefs. This was probably the hardest day emotionally ever. So we really dove into our limiting beliefs, things that hold you back. It was transformation day. And he made us feel that pain. So in a nutshell, we had closed our eyes and it was kind of like a guided meditation, but taken to a super extreme where 12,000 people are screaming in agony. It was so much worse than the fire walk. So basically what he said is think of your top 3 limiting beliefs and what would happen if you lived, following those limiting beliefs. If you lived like that for 5 years, whose love, who would you hurt? What's one person you would hurt? And then what about your family? What's your life going to look like? And he just kept pushing us. And then again, he pushed us like, what about in 10 years and 20 years and 30 years? And that was probably like a half an hour long process where everybody is just like shut down because like, what is your life going to look like? For me, I just picture myself alone. That's really, and that just like tore me to pieces. So that was something that really was the hardest thing probably ever. So if you think of let's just start with just one, just your top limiting belief. What holds you back, either in life or in this business? It doesn't have to, like I went to this thinking about my life in general, but it's going to carry over to my business and even at work. So my top limiting belief was I have to be perfect. So now I'll tell you guys the nose thing. So think of that limiting belief and then stick your finger in your nose and say it in a funny voice. So I have to be perfect. So, and then you say, that's bullshit. Like, and now I'm free. Like, he made us do that like 10 times in a row to break ourselves of that. And then we did the exercise where we were living in that pain. So now think of,
do it. Literally, you guys, it sounds so dumb, but literally when I think that money is hard to come by, I cannot even say think seriously. Like, that was such a limiting belief for me. And after Elisa's done, I'm going to go to the next portion of this. But like, so what we'd have to do is we'd have to face strangers and we'd have to wind up our fingers and we'd have to, we're looking at people we've never met before and our fingers in our nose. And we literally like, money is hard to come by. And then they're telling us their limited belief. Then we go, that's bullshit. And then we like kept doing it over and over and over again because we changed our neurological system. So then now we've been trained to any kind of limiting belief that we have is one, we literally start laughing at it. But also, like, if Lisa was saying something, I would like talk to her. Like, she said, like, oh, my business isn't at that level yet. And I was like, oh, my business isn't at that level yet. And she was like, oh my gosh, like, we're associating these things because you're so afraid of making decisions because you're so clouded by the fear and the agony and your limiting beliefs. And what we're trying to do is to teach you, you guys, you got to change your body to where you're not just like, oh, no, there's abundance of money. I didn't believe that when I would recite that until now I put my freaking finger in my nose. And now every time I think about it, because it still comes up in my head, I start laughing. Sorry, Lisa, keep going. But we like round it up. Yes. We just like keep over and over and over again. Now I do it to Eric.
The people we didn't even know. Like Julianne and I weren't partners this whole time. Like you just kind of went with random people. And we were like, side note, when we first started, every time we sat down, he would make us like hug 3 people and give 4 high fives. Like the first day we're all like high-fiving each other. Like by the last day we were just like hugging random people and like legit hugs. But yes, so your limiting beliefs. So I have to be perfect. No, that's bullshit. I don't have to be perfect. And then replacing that with a more empowering belief. So my replacement is I'm an overcomer and I can show others what's possible. And then he made us do that over and over to music and just screaming it out loud. So my limiting belief was crushed because I'm an overcomer. And it's not that you're like, the biggest thing I got out of this was he didn't say like, this isn't going to stop those negative thoughts and stop things from happening to you. It's going to help you overcome them, because I always thought that something was wrong with me because I was thinking like that. No, you just need to be able to overcome it. My next limiting belief was everybody hates me, nobody likes me. That's not true. I am an influencer. So just kind of, that was my thing, was like, I am an influencer. And my last one was, you're not allowed to spend money because I tend to be kind of frugal. So I put, I'm living life by my design. So those are my limiting beliefs that I came over. You literally could just keep going and going and going and going because limiting beliefs are going to come up all the time. So yeah, that was something that was like the hardest day. And we all got home and we're like, what just happened? In a good way. The other thing I wanted to share was priming. I took a picture of this one. So getting to your prime state. So you want to prime yourself in the morning to be in a good state. So he had us do an exercise. So you just raise your arms up and down, and you're breathing in with your nose and out with your nose both times. And you just do it for 30 seconds. So you're just doing that. And then after you're doing that, I actually took a video of this, but I don't know how to upload it. It's 20 minutes long. So then he wants you to think of 3 things that you are grateful for, and put your hand on the heart and feel your heart beating while you think of those 3 things. Literally, it got to the point where he told us to think about things that we're grateful for. I would put my hand on my heart and I would just immediately start crying, like happy cry. And then number 2 is feel the energy within you. And then number 3, think of 3 things you're going to create and envision that result. So those are the 3 steps to like getting prime in the morning. And there's so many other things that we learn, but those are my kind of top ones. And the last thing I want you guys to do. So I want you guys to rub your hands together. Okay. Now, kind of push your thumb in the middle. And then everybody close your eyes and put your palms on the top of your laps, face up. And just focus on your palms and focus on the ball of light that you're holding in each palm. Take some deep breaths in and out. And focus on the 2 balls of light that you are holding in your palms. Breathe in and breathe out. Does anybody feel anything? Breathe in and breathe out. Focus on the center of those palms. Okay, you guys can open your eyes. And now I want you to hold your hands like this. And focus. Look at your palms and focus on them. And then move your palms slowly in and out. You're shaping that energy. Anybody feel it? Yeah. I feel it. I did this with my husband and he felt it. You have to be in the right mindset though. You have to be all in. All right, now stop moving them in and out. Take one finger and point it towards your other palm. And just move it. You'll feel that energy. Now switch. So this blew my mind. I don't know if you guys all feel it. You have to be in the right mindset. But you can feel we had Master Cho come and do a presentation. And honestly, I've never done any of that stuff before. I've heard of it, but kind of was like, I don't really know about that. But this is an energy, I forgot what he called it. Energy point, I guess. And so we all have energy. So we all have energy to give. So what kind of energy are you giving others? In this business, what kind of energy are you giving people? When you send your messages, what kind of energy are you giving? Your energy introduces you before you even speak. So you guys need to be sending messages with your heart, and not just saying, oh yeah, I'm a coach and I help people. No, maybe not even saying you're a coach, but saying I am so 100% committed to helping you on your journey and helping you get through your pain. So that is a different way of saying that. It's all about the feeling that you're putting into your message. And they can feel that too. I don't know. There's just so many different things that we could talk about. It's crazy. I'm thinking of other things. We talked about mirroring people. And just when you, it was so funny. So when you, this is all psychology. They had a neuroscientist kind of do a lot of the presentations. And when you have a good rapport with someone, I don't know if you guys have ever heard this or ever noticed it, you guys will start to move the same way. Or if you're talking with someone and all of a sudden you take a drink, then they take a drink. I've noticed that one a lot. Or if you sit like this, then all of a sudden they're sitting like this. We literally had an assignment to do that, and we didn't have time because we didn't get home till midnight or later each night. And we were all standing around in Julianne's living room talking, and all of a sudden I looked down and we were all standing like this, leaning in exactly the same way. And I just was pause, and we looked at each other and we stopped, and then that energy just broke, our conversation. It was so weird, but amazing. So those are my tidbits. There's so many more things. If you guys ever get the chance to go, really, I truly encourage you to go. You need this. Everyone needs this in their life. And the thing that I do say, if you do go, fully commit. If we didn't fully commit, we would not have gotten nearly the results that we got in that conference. There was people outside not being present in the moment, but that's really, really important, because if you miss any of the exercises, you're going to kind of be behind, and it's going to be really hard to get back. But it was awesome going with a group of people that we did not feel bad about crying in front of each other, because that's going to happen. It just brings up a lot of different things in your life, but it's so amazing how you come out on the other side. And it had nothing to do with walking. It did have something to do with walking over fire, but when we look back, that was not the hardest thing that we did. So those are my tidbits.
Dude, you're amazing. You guys, I've said this on a couple of calls yesterday, that when because she used to be an introvert. That's not a limiting belief Lisa believes about herself anymore. And I shared the story, but I have to share it again, is I picked her up and Lisa was all the way in the back near the doors and other people were standing in front of her. She didn't even see me because other people were like in front of her. And so she came in, we awkwardly gave a hug. We went to lunch, didn't have any eye contact, but we still chatted. And then the day I dropped her off, we embrace each other, we give each other this huge hug. And she walks through this busy airport, the doors slide open. She takes a bow as soon as she walks in, turns around. I just went like this, and she threw her fist up in the air. And then I got a text, and she said, I walked through security like a boss. And it was not the Lisa that came to visit me who was talking about all the awful things that had happened, all the terrible things. Because what happens is, and I said this yesterday, is that we can either be volunteers. Tony didn't call them victims. He said volunteers. You volunteer yourself into that state. Pain is inevitable. Pain is a sign of life. Pain is a sign of growth, and you will experience pain, but you can get out of it simply by changing your focus, changing your physiology, and changing your language, if that makes sense. So even throughout these last 5 days now, I've had things happen, and Wyatt bit my face, right? And I was like, bah! And then I snapped out of it. I had moments, right? But I was able to change it in an instant, and that was really powerful. So pretty much our entire thing, we had to leave with 2 decisions. We had to leave with 2 decisions, and they were decisions for anyone that was different. But before we made these 2 decisions, this is what we said. And I want you to blow up the chat with this. Bring your energy, you guys. I can feel you. I can seriously feel you based on how you're sitting right now. It's wild. Even when you're connecting with new people, man, the way you come into that conversation is so vital. I was just even thinking of our boot camp. We have some boot campers on here. And just the way I chose to be in that group today, the way I chose to be in my email today, the way I chose to be with Eric today, that was perfect timing. I was there fully present. I bought a mini trampoline today because I can't wait to bounce on it for 3 minutes each day. I'm so pumped. So Tony said this, what do you love? So you have to change for your peak state, you have to find your passion, you have to decide, commit, resolve. And then you have to take immediate action. So what do you love? I love Eric. I love Wyatt. I love coaching. I love workouts. I love sex. AA. I love leading. I love public speaking. Hey, yes. That's my man. I love traveling. I love laughing. I love freedom. I love teaching. I love reading. It looks like I have crawling on here, but I don't think that's the word. I just cannot read my handwriting. But what do you guys love? Go ahead and spit it out for me. I love relaxing. I love blessing others. I love church. I love devotions. I love pizza. I love pizza. I love being my own boss. I love dancing. I love holidays. I love weddings. Anything. I love ice cream. I love Wisconsin. I love New Grist beer. What do you guys love? You guys should be it should be so fast to spit this out. I love my bed. I love taking a warm shower. Today I chose to take the most coldest shower ever, and it woke me up and changed my state. It was wild. I love massages. I love getting my hair done. I love all of you. I love this team so much. I love walking on fire. I love my computer glasses that help protect my eyes. What do you guys love? Do you see how easy this is? So when you're in a negative state, when you are struggling, this is what you focus on. Do you see how easy it is? I love the air. I love that when I walked outside, it was windy and Wyatt was running crazy and wild. It was super fun to watch him run. I loved working out with Rachel and Laura today. It was seriously so much fun. We pushed ourselves. I love feeling the booty workout. Does that make sense? I love my boot camp that's happening right now. I love Shakeology because of all the nutrients in it. I love, what do you guys love? You guys should keep going, right? Yep, my son, my dogs. So when you are in a stressed out state, you're in a frustrated state, this is where it starts. You start listing as many things as you can. You change your focus. Do you see how easy this was? Now let's shift focus. What do you hate? This is hard. He said this is really hard because you don't want to always focus on hate. I hate pickles. I hate laundry. I hate social barriers. I hate people that suck. I hate negative mindsets. I hate laziness. I hate traffic. I hate wasting time. I hate liars. I hate abusers. I hate ego. I hate divorce. I hate alcoholism. I hate not having money. I hate having a messy house. I hate rush. I hate tests. I hate bees. I hate failing. I hate power trips. I hate uncomfortable beds. I hate losing. What do you guys hate? Fighting with my husband. Yeah, procrastination, being ignored. That's huge. Feeling lonely, right? So this is what tends to happen is when we start hating and we start thinking about all, like, do you guys already feel the shift in your heart? Do you feel that you had like a slower breathing? Do you feel that? When you're talking about love and the abundance of your heart, do you notice how excited you were when starting to talk about like when we started getting to these peaks where literally our bodies, there was one point, you guys, I was bent all the way over about to throw up, thinking on how sick I was of the things that used to limit me, the pain that I was feeling, right? So now let's make a shift, okay? Just like this, we can make a shift. What are you passionate about? What are you passionate about? I'm passionate about pursuing God. I'm so passionate about coaching. I'm passionate about these calls. I'm passionate about leading, leveling up, doing well. I'm passionate about being a dog mom, empowering other women, staying fit, improving myself, having a good time, traveling, connecting with others, loving others, health, serving others, music. I'm passionate about creating. Oh, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. This is freaking awesome. Look at that. Being a good wife, dog mom, being an RN, feeling loved, running. Yes, absolutely. Being outdoors. Right. So this is what he was talking about. So we went to what do you love? What do you hate? What are you passionate about? Then we went to what do you really want in life? What do you really want in life? So for me, I want freedom. I want travel. I want a boat. I want a house. Anything you can think of, right? I want financial freedom. I want to bless my family. I want to have a family. I want to help others get financially free. I want to go to another Backstreet Boy concert. I want to give to charities. I want to have a huge dining room table. I really, really want more time with my family. I want to host holidays. I want family vacations. I want a team retreat for all of you guys. I want to have a retreat somewhere. I want to be a millionaire. I want to have no stress with finances. I want flexibility and I want traditions in my family. What is it that you really want in life? What is it that you really want in life? To host people, that's huge. So in this wheel, so we have to do this. Put yourself in your peak state. So that's where we're helping you. You change your focus, your physiology, and your language, right? So you change your peak state. Then you go to find your passion. Those are your values fuel the drive. So whatever you value in life, think about it. If you're at your peak state and you're valuing the stress in your life, you're not going to get what you want in life. Is this making sense to you guys? If you're valuing being a procrastinator, you're not going to get what you want in life. Does this make sense? It's kind of like that paradigm thing, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like your limiting belief is then what you focus on is how you feel, and how you feel is the action you take, and then the action you get is the result you get. It's kind of the similar thing, but more in depth. So values fuel the drive. What do you love, right? Like, what are you passionate about? What do you really want in life? What really drives you in life? Then what you need to do is you need to decide, commit, and resolve. This is where you unleash your power. And he talks about this. He said, it's your moment of decision that brought you to your destiny. Success is built on success. Success cannot be built on failure. Success is built on success. So, for example, what are 2 decisions you've made in the past that positively shaped your life? And you might have been super afraid of those decisions if you think back. Maybe you're afraid of becoming a coach, which now seems silly, right? Doesn't that seem silly that was something you were afraid about? How did they change your life for the better? What finally got you to decide? And I was thinking about it, I was like, man, when I quit my job, scariest thing ever. And now I look back and I think that's hilarious. It's not scary to me anymore because I did it, right? Moving to California was super huge decision that I made. Changed my life drastically. Eric quitting his job, another very extremely scary decision that was not easy. But we did it, and now we don't even look back. Getting Wyatt, we were so afraid of getting Wyatt, and it makes me laugh to think about that. So what has positively shaped your life because of decisions you've made? Think about it. You have these decisions and the things you want in life, and they are so scary, but think about the decisions you've already made in the past that have gotten you here right now. What makes you think you can't do that again, right? So for me, we've been able to show to grow our business. We've been able to help so many people. We've been able to spend more time with people that we love. We've been able to grow closer together and stronger together. We knew that we'd be okay and that we'd figure it out. God has never failed me and always moves my mountains. That's what I wrote down. And it's been true every single time, but it's crazy how I can live in this state of panic and fear and this state of worry when all the times I look back in my life and where God has brought me. Does that make sense? What decisions have you made in your life that have changed your life for the better? And you did it, right? So then you go to number 2. What are 2 decisions you are committed to making right now? And how will they powerfully improve your life forever? And this is where you're like, money's hard to come by. That's not going to shape your decision. I'm not smart. That's not shaping my decision. What's shaping my decision are the things I love. What are shaping my values and my beliefs are my passions. And what is shaping me as an individual for what I want are the things that I love and that I'm passionate about. Does that make sense? We cannot let stress, a busy schedule, all that stuff, it's not going to shape the decisions that you want in your life. Success is built off of success. But in order to get to whatever these 2 decisions are, you have to be in this state of love. So when Lisa was talking to you about priming, it sounds really crazy. But it's crazy if you just take 30 minutes or 30 seconds of your day. I had snot come down my nose. He's like, let the snot flow, sister. And it was flowing. And I was breathing. And then I put my hand on my freaking heart and I felt it beating. And I focused on the day I was walking down the aisle and looking at Eric. I focused on when we take Wyatt to this field, there's mountains in the background. It's super green. Laura's been there. And he's just running and he's like, Wyatt is smiling in his doofy little face. And Eric's like running with him and it's like complete happiness to me. So then I don't focus on that stress in life. You guys carry yourself based on how you feel and what you value. Every day, like I've been like changing my posture, even as I'm about to send out a message to someone. I throw on some music, I catch my heartbeat, and I'm like, man, my creator made me to make such a difference, right? And so as I'm going into my messages, as I'm going into my conversations, as I'm going into my business, as I'm speaking to my husband, as I'm with my friends, Laura and Rachel saw me today. I'm being in the state of love. I'm being in that state of love, if that makes sense. So what 2 new decisions are you committed to making now, and how will they powerfully improve your life forever? And once you make that, you guys have to say you're unstoppable. You're unstoppable as you make those decisions. And I think it can be really scary to do that. But if you can change your state, that'd be huge. So he also talks about, I don't live in lack. Life will pay whatever price you ask of it. And he shared this story, and you probably have heard it, but it meant so much more after we had heard all this, that he saw a homeless guy, and maybe you guys have heard the story. It's really powerful. And he had, Tony Robbins always carries $100 on the outside of his money clip because he was practically homeless, had no money. He was 35 pounds heavier, whatever. But someone told him, like, what you focus on becomes your reality, right? What you focus on, he was talking about a pole. And when you like go off in the ditch, and I actually had, we had a friend die in high school, and well, after high school, and he hit a pole. But when you turn and you see and you focus the pole, most cars hit the pole. And they were talking about, they like did all this research on specifically in this one part of the country where there's poles and how far they are from each other. And the cars kept hitting the same pole. And they're like, why is that? It's because when you're going, you see it and you drive the car right into it. So what you focus on becomes whatever it is that you want. So 5 keys to asking intelligently. 5 keys to asking intelligently. Ask specifically. Define precisely what you need, why, and when you need it. So 5 keys to asking intelligently. Whatever it is that you're wanting to go away from with this, the 2 decisions. You need to be able to show what you'll be able to produce with it. Don't just ask for money. Here's $1 now. Or like if you're like, I want money, and then here's $1. So my point is, Tony Robbins saw this homeless guy, and he's like, he has $100 bills in his bill, and it was in his pocket. And the guy's like, I just want a quarter. And he's like, whatever you ask for is what you get. And he pulled out his wallet and $100 bill, $100 bill, $100 bill, $5 bill, $10 bill, 20, just whatever. And then opened it. And in the center of that were a couple of quarters. And he pulled out a quarter, and then he gave the quarter to the homeless man. And it's like, that's what he asked for, and that's what he got. So if you're like, oh, I just want money. Well, here's $1. Where you're like, I just want more money in life. Well, here's $1. That's more money, but you're going to be pissed when I give you that, right? That's not what you mean. So you have to be super specific. Ask for how much, by when, for what. Focus is power. Stop focusing on what you don't want. So if you're focusing on, I have no money, then guess what? You have no money. But you have to focus on what it is that you want. Take the obstacles, face them, and flex your approach. So maybe our team is going for 10-star qual. We might have to change our approach going for this goal. Does that make sense? We might have to do different things to get to there. Be specific on what you want. So instead of being like, I want financial freedom, be like, man, I need to start making 10 grand a month. I need to make 10 grand a month. And that's what you focus on. Ask someone who can help you. Ask someone this is number 2. Ask someone with the resources to help. Whatever you want is something someone else already has. The trick is to find those people and figure out what they do right. So he was talking about, like, if you want more money, but you can't say more money, you have to say, I want $10,000 a month. You need to find someone who is making $10,000 a month, and you need to ask them specifically what they're doing. Does that make sense? Maybe it's someone in the business where you're like, man, like, what is it that you're doing? I want to be an emerald coach, a diamond coach, whatever. They might say, I'm not sure. But you guys, if you are doing certain things in your business, you know what you're doing. It just sounds easy to you because it's just what you do. But I'm telling you, your words are gold to them. Number 3 is create value for the person you're asking. Figure out how you can help the person you're asking first. If you're adding value to them, they will listen to you. It's not that whole mentality of take. It's I'm going to give. He gave this example of this lieutenant, I think, or someone high up in the military. And you guys, Tony Robbins charges $1 million for 14 hours of coaching. $1 million, because that's what he feels like he's worth. And guess what? Tons of people pay $1 million to get coached by Tony Robbins. I was like, $160 challenge pack? Really not that much, you guys. Anyway, this colonel was like, or whoever commanded, I don't know. He's like, can you come speak to these group of Marines? And he's like, yeah, sure, next year. I have no time. And the guy's like, no, I won't take no for an answer. You need to come right now and speak to us. And he's like, no, I don't have time. Like, thank you, but I can't do it now. And Tony Robbins loves helicopters. And the colonel was like, I'll let you fly this specific helicopter, this specific plane, I don't even know what it was, all day long. And Tony was like, in. He's like, you don't even have to pay me. That sounds like the best day ever. And then he I think it was like 24 hours later, he flew to this Marine convention and spoke to all of these Marines that were in the desert and like hadn't eaten or drank any water for a really long amount of time. And he empowered them, and it was really cool. But this guy was asking Tony for something but he created value instead of just being like, oh, I'll pay you. He didn't even have them. I think it was like for 4 hours is like $125,000 to speak or something. And the guy was like, I don't even have that money. So he kept changing his approach, and he added value to Tony because he knew Tony loves helicopters. And he's like, you can fly all the helicopters. And in an instant, Tony was there. So create value for the person you're asking. Number 4 is ask with focused, congruent belief. If you aren't convinced about what you're asking for, how can anyone else be? Express absolute conviction in your words and physiology. So be certain and have conviction, and then they will see that. So ask with focused, congruent belief. If you aren't convinced about what you're asking for, how can anyone else be? And it's kind of like even having people join your groups. Like if you're not fully convinced in what you're doing, no one's going to join you, if that makes sense. And then number 5 is ask until you get what you want. And that was that guy. Like he just kept asking and he didn't give up. Like he literally called Tony Robbins like 10 times. And he was like, I need to talk to him. He was so specific. Change and adjust until you achieve what you want. When you study successful people, you'll see that they keep asking, keep trying, keep changing, because that they knew that sooner or later they would find someone who would satisfy their needs. So you can't stop asking. So that was a huge takeaway for me. And just talk with intensity and confidence. There was a coach on here, on a call yesterday. And she said that she sent me a message. I don't know if she's on here, if she'll watch this recording, but I hope so, because she said, I don't like the way that you were yelling at us like you were a parent to a bunch of kids, because I was talking with so much intensity and so much that I've learned, and she didn't like it. And I said, I can't promise you that I'll stop talking like this. But what I can say and suggest is that you start running your calls if this is not aligning with how you want it, but that's on you. I am me. I'm not going to change or apologize for who I am because you're not happy with it. That's entirely up to you. But what can you do differently? Like, what could be your approach? Could you go start your own calls? Could you start leading the ones that I'm doing? Could you know what I'm saying? Like, what else could you do? Because I am not going to change my intensity, change however you perceived it to be. You looked at it as I was a parent yelling at you. And in my heart, I was empowering and so fired up and so motivated because my whole life has been changed. I can't apologize for that. Just as much as my mom said, Julianne, you're becoming a less child of God because I said fuck. And I'm not a huge cusser, but that is how much, you guys, when you walk on fire, you can't just say freaking, I'm sorry. Like, I can't be sorry for that. If that offends you, somewhere in your line of beliefs that has taught you that that's bad, including my mother, who is so proud of me. And then she sees that I said a bad word and is like, you're becoming less of a child of God. Am I, Mom? That's on you. That's on you. Like, you're just worried because your friends are friends with me on Facebook, and you're worried how I look to them. I know that's what it is, but that's on you. I walked on fire. You know what I'm saying? And so, you guys, we can't apologize for who we are and who we want to be. There's a coach that just quit, one of my PS coaches, because she saw something in the team page and didn't like it and started putting blame on it, that this is the most negative place ever. It's like, interesting. If you were to go look at our whole team page, wouldn't really find anything negative, but it's bringing up a deep scarring and pain inside of you that it made a trigger for you. And now what you want to do is run. I really encourage you to lean into it and be inspiring and help me out and lead the team how you want to lead it. She quit. It is what it is. Talent takes condition. Talent takes condition. You get rewarded in public for the work you do in private. You get rewarded in public for the work that you do in private. And I was just thinking about it, I was like, Lisa has this way of finding fake people. Seriously, she's like, whoa, they are different one-on-one than they are with the crowd of people, drastically different. She was noticing it all over the place, and she's noticed it even with people on this team before. And she was talking about it, and it bothers her. And I said, interesting. How was I when you first got here? And how was I with Eric? And how were you in our house and all this stuff? And she said the exact same. And I was like, exactly. Like, it's so cool that she could like pick up on who wasn't actually genuine and then who was sincere. Like, literally people we've never even met. It was awesome. I was like, whoa, that's so crazy that you're so bothered by unauthentic people, but that's on them. And you no longer need to focus on that. Lisa, you want to say something?
Yeah, that comes from my limiting belief that I have to be perfect. So I'm pushing that on other people, that other people have to be perfect, because I am not fake. I am the same everywhere. I did have problems like when I first started coaching where I broke through that barrier with PD. I broke through it even more, where I would be in a group of people and I would just kind of conform to what they wanted. I would kind of sit back. I didn't want to stand out. I would, if they were talking negative, I would talk negative. And I think that's where it comes from, because I feel like, or I felt like I had to be perfect, and I had to fit in by being like those people, but then I didn't feel true to myself. So I knew that bothered me for myself, and then it bothers me in other people because I'm projecting that on them. So when I perceive that they're not perfect, or they're not, aligning with what I think they should align with, then I get upset. But who is that on? That's on me.
Right.
That has nothing to do with them. It's on me. And if I'm getting upset over that person, which this happened at the conference, like we had a guy in our line that was like literally face the other way towards us, talking about all this money on his phone, like on purpose. And then I saw him down in the expensive seats, like laughing it up, being like the number one party guy. And I like looked at Julianne, I'm like, I can't stop looking at him. Like, I can't stop looking at him because it made me uncomfortable. And then like, we like just talked about it. Like, that's because I'm putting that perfection on other people. And that it's 100% on me. So what things are you guys putting on other people that make you upset? And I just challenge you guys to kind of take a step back and say, why am I getting upset about this? Like when my husband doesn't take out the trash when I ask him to, why am I getting upset about that? Because I'm placing that perfection I place on myself, I'm placing that on him. And that's just something that I really was like, whoa, it totally makes sense. So that's just what I wanted to say about that.
Yeah, and it was just a huge like thing where it's like that was a big breakthrough for Lisa because she changed her focus then. Where it's like, you guys, people aren't going to be what you always assume them to be, but you get rewarded in public for what you work on in private. And so how you are, who you really are to your core, and behind social media, like not even like on these Zooms, is like, are you practicing what you're preaching essentially? Does that make sense? But again, it's all on you. You guys are getting irritated and frustrated and questioning people. Why are you allowing that to happen? Like, you've been conditioned to believe certain things, just as like my mom, right? Like doing that when I'm like, Mom, that's on you. Like, if that's how you feel, like you can try to project that on me, but I'm not going to let you, if that makes sense. You have to wire yourself to follow through. Skills are, I can't read my handwriting. Wire yourself for abundance. You are your rituals. You are your habits. Identity determines what you do. What you can do is so great. What you will do can be a disappointment, but you have to change the state of resolve. So instead, you're like, I want to be playful. I want to be excited. I want to be full of abundance, full of love, full of joy, and project that energy out into the people that you're chatting with. But it all starts with changing your focus, changing your physiology. And what we mean by that is when you're walking through the neighborhoods, instead of trying to be on your phone and you're all like, whatever, literally change your posture and smile at people. When you are with your husband or whoever, like your presence and physiology is going to change that. So change your focus, change your physiology, and change the words, the language that you're saying. But I want you guys to just think about 2 decisions that you need to make, and then focus those decisions with love. Focus those decisions with beliefs that you want with those, not things that you hate and associate. Because I'm telling you, doubt, fear, you literally start to crumble your body. But if you're living in a state of gratitude, thankfulness, it's going to pop up in your head. So every time that I'm like, I laugh. But then I'm also like, oh my gosh, like I'm abundantly blessed. So anytime you guys lately have been messaging me like, what are you grateful for today? Let's focus and shift our focus on that and then chat, if that makes sense. Wow. I'm going to hit